How's it going, guys? It's Billy here, and I'm back with another Q&A video. The last one I did was all the way back in July, so I figured, you know what, if I didn't do it in August, I might as well do one for September. So as of a couple days ago, I decided to throw it out there with a nice little hashtag so I can follow along and give you guys the opportunity to ask me some questions that you guys have been wanting to. Since there were a whole bunch of them, I just picked out a couple of them for you guys to answer, and if you didn't get your question on this time, don't worry, I'm going to be doing more Q&As in the future, or even just throw it up on Twitter, maybe I'll even answer it there as well. But at least for this particular video, these are the questions that I picked, and here are the answers for them. And first up on our list is from Isaiah Chavez, and they ask, how do you feel about the iPhone 7? Honest answer. In all honesty, I have no qualms with Apple products at all. I've had an iPhone since the iPhone 3G, which was the very first iPhone that was available, at least in Canada, all the way back in 2008. And then I had an iPhone after that. I waited a while. Then I got the 4. Or was it the 4S? It was somewhere along the 4 line. Then I have myself a 5S right now. And I've played around with the 6 and 6S, as you guys have seen in some of my previous videos. Honestly, I think that they're just a great company out there just putting these phones out. Yes, they might not be the most innovative every single time, but you know what? It's another competitor in the phone market, and just competition is just a great thing in general. I think the iPhone 7 is a step forward. It's got a better camera. I like the dual camera system setup on the iPhone 7 Plus. I can't wait to try it out personally. Hopefully I can get my hands on one and actually let you guys know my full opinion on it later. Next question comes from Typical Guy, and they ask, will you be buying a PS4 Pro? I'm hoping to actually purchase one, or at least get one somehow, in order to let you guys know about my opinion on the actual device itself. Whether or not that happens, that's a different question entirely, but I'm going to do my best to try to get my hands on one and give you guys my opinion on it. Question number 3 comes from Frosted Waffle, and they ask, are you going to be playing Grand Theft Auto 5 with Andre, aka Typical Gamer, at some point? Honestly, that's always up in the air. That could always happen. I've played with Andre. Well, he's my brother, right? So I've played with him video games. At least we've always bonded over that throughout our lives. Whenever there was possible a 2-player kind of game, we'd always either play cooperatively or against each other, depending on the game. So you never know. Yeah, at one point we might be streaming it together. We might be playing together. Whatever the case is, I do have it on my computer. I know he's been on just a really, really big mod binge. That's his kind of his strength right now. So, that's going to be what he's going to be doing for a while. And yeah, you never know. It might happen. So be sure to follow us on Twitter. And if that does indeed happen, you guys will be the first ones to know it. Next question is from, I'm going to just go by their main name on there, not their actual Twitter tag. And it's Anime. And they ask, if you're going to choose between a PS4 Slim and a PS4 Neo/Pro, which one would you pick and why? I personally think if you're going to be upgrading your current PS4, because let's say you have the current PS4 is not the Slim, because it's going to be coming out soon, but it's not out just yet, and you want to upgrade it because, let's say, oh hey, within the past year I've purchased a 4K TV and I really want to take advantage of that upscaled resolution in the game, either it being graphically improved or just that resolution in general. That might be something to consider if you have the old PlayStation 4 and you want to be able to use those features. I don't know if it's going to be as big of a jump as Sony wants it to kind of be. Like I said, I'm going to try to get one for myself, try to let you guys have the know-how and the lowdown for that one too, to give you guys my opinion for it. But I think if the scenario is this, if you're brand new and you don't have a current PlayStation 4, I think to get into it and you just have like a 1080p screen, you don't really care too much about 4K stuff, go with the PlayStation 4 Slim. And if you want to be upgrading your current PS4 to something better because you really enjoy the PlayStation experience, I would go with something like the PS4 Pro instead. But I want to get my hands on both of those and let you guys know my full opinion once I actually have them in hand. Because right now it's just talking specs. It's just what Sony is telling us. Getting it actually in your own hands and trying something out for your very self to formulate your own opinion, that's a whole different ballgame and a whole different story. So hoping I can bring that to you guys. And the next question comes from Ethan, and they ask, why don't I watch your videos? I don't know, Ethan. Why don't you watch my videos? You should be watching them. I mean, you submitted a question. Come on, man. Pick up the pace. Next question comes from Miguel, and they ask, what do you think about the iPhone having a 750p and a 1080p screen respectively? Meaning for the regular, just the smaller iPhone having the smaller screen res, you have to go all the way to the Plus model in order to get a 1080p screen, while Android flagships have a 1440p, a 2K or Quad HD display. And that's something that's honestly, I don't know why Apple hasn't done that yet. Move that kind of the smaller iPhone 7, bump that one up to 1080p, and then take their iPhone 7 Plus and bump that into the Quad HD realm of 1440p. I don't know why they haven't done that. There's got to be a reason, at least for them. I think they're really happy with the way that their screens are currently with their Retina displays. They might not think that resolution's as big a deal as it is right now. I mean, on their MacBook lines and a lot of their they have 5K iMacs, for goodness sake, right? So the resolution does matter to them. I don't think they're seeing as much of a difference, or at least they don't think it bit as much of a difference, at least on their mobile devices, as other companies do. Maybe it's going to cost them a lot more. I don't know what their reasoning for it is. I know a lot of Android flagships, they want to really be bumping it up because you can consume 1440p content. I mean, as long as it's in 4K, you can downscale it to 1440p and you can enjoy it on your smartphone. I mean, I have a Nexus 6P and I like to see the 1440p content on it. I personally think it looks really, really good. Why Apple hasn't done it though, and I'm a little bit disappointed that they haven't yet. But I'm trying to like figure out, at least in my own mind, and trying to justify, at least from their perspective, why they wouldn't be doing it. I don't know, it could be something of cost. Maybe they're just going to be saving that for their next iteration of iPhone that's going to be able to do something like that, or maybe even further. Maybe it'll be 4K. Who knows? But I think it's a little bit disappointing personally. I was hoping that they would bump at least their smaller, the iPhone 7 itself, bump that one up to 1080p and take the iPhone Plus and pump that one up to Quad HD, but they didn't do that, unfortunately. And here's hopefully for the next iteration that they will be doing something at least similar to that. And Miguel, I think you're probably the only one here who actually got 2 questions in. I just honestly, I liked both of your questions, so that's why they're in here too. And the second question that he asked was also, what's the hardest thing about making a YouTube video or making YouTube videos? There's a whole process in them, and it really depends on the style of YouTube video that you're making. For example, the ones that a lot of them I like to do, where, let's say I want to take a product, try it out, make a video on it, and then publish it, or even the ones that you guys have seen more recently, some of my news ones, there's multiple steps required to actually getting from the start of the product to the finished product, and that's all you guys see is the end product. But there's a huge process that goes from start to finish from there. And in all honesty, the hardest part sometimes is just thinking about what to do and the content for the video actually itself, right? Because you got to, at least for, let's say we'll take an example of one of my like news videos. First of all, I have to pick a topic that I have to find, I think is going to be interesting for myself to cover and for you guys as well to even listen to. I have to do a little bit of research on it because I want to think I know what I'm talking about. I want to have at least a little bit of know-how for it. And then afterwards, I write a little bit of a script for it. So I'm not just kind of like doing this. This is a little bit more off the cuff, offhand. I'm just talking to you guys, so it's different. But when it comes to a news video, you want to be a little bit more factual. I mean, you can throw in your opinion in there too. I think that's a very important thing. But at least when you're actually doing the actual news portion of it, you want to know what you're talking about, and you got to do your research. Then you actually have to, do the audio or video recording for it, edit all that and put it all together. But I personally think probably the hardest part is even just figuring out what you want to do that's going to be interesting for yourself to do, that you want to be able to do it, and also something interesting for your viewers to want to watch as well. Next question comes from Juan Sanchez, and they ask, do you hate Apple? Not at all. Do I think that they could be innovating a little bit more than they have been within the past couple of years? Yes, I definitely think they can. But do I hate Apple? No, not at all. I personally use an iPhone. I have one. I like to know their system in and out, at least their ecosystem. I don't have any Mac products, like any of their desktop or laptops line, but I do want to get one just so I'm a little bit more familiar with it. And the next question comes from Sniper Master Dude, and they ask, would you ever do a stream with TG? And in all honesty, yeah, we might in the future. You never know what's going to be holding it for that. At least for now, this is primarily kind of a tech, pop culture, just cool stuff, awesome stuff on this channel. Even a little bit of news in there. It can do with anything with tech. It can do with gaming. Video gaming itself, like live streaming, isn't this channel's primary focus. But if we ever do something like a live stream together, you guys will definitely know about it. So be sure to follow us on Twitter if you haven't already. Next question is from Rashab the Gamer, and they ask, would you prefer a Mac or a Windows? As I mentioned in a previous question, I do want to get a little bit more into the Mac OS environment. I want to learn a little bit more about it. I think to be a better, more well-rounded, at least tech person, you should know kind of both sides. I guess you could say there's also a third side. I have dabbled with Linux before in a little bit of my background, but Mac's really the only one that I haven't really touched too much. And in all honesty, as of right now, I do prefer Windows just because it is the OS that I have been using since, goodness gracious, since we had our first computer. I think that one had Windows 95 on it, if I'm not mistaken. Then we had 98 ME. Anyway, we've always had like Windows computers around the houses and not Macs, and I only got into Linux a little bit later in life. So I would have to say Windows is my preferred OS, at least if we're going to choose of the two, but I would like to get into the Mac realm. Next question is from AGX, and they ask, if you didn't become a YouTuber, what would you be doing instead? Well, I would probably be doing whatever I was doing before I started doing YouTube videos as well, and that was just working in the IT and tech field in general. That's what I was doing before getting into this, and in all honesty, if I wasn't doing this YouTube stuff now, that's what I would be still doing at this very moment. Next question is from Nasiful Haq, and they ask, how did you get into the tech stuff? Tech stuff has always been just a very big part of my life. It's been always a big point of interest for me. I've always loved technology. I remember when I was a little kid, I used to just love playing with the TV and the VCR and whatever was available at the time. I just love taking things apart, putting it back together, and figuring out how things just work. I don't know, that's always just been me. That's just been my personality, and just tech just really feeds into that because I just like to know how things work. And I also feel like technology is just a really important tool to help advance your own knowledge and just to help advance human beings just in general. And I think it's personally a really, really great thing to have, and I'm just really glad that I've been blessed to be born in this era, to actually be able to enjoy this technology. I think that's absolutely awesome. Next question is from Foxy, and they ask, who's my favorite Overwatch character? I guess that really depends on the different roles that I'm going to be playing. If I had to choose one from the more attack kind of based characters versus defense versus tanks versus healers, I'll pick one from each category because I kind of do like one from each category. If I'm going to be going from the attacking characters, that's a little bit of a tough one because I do like my McCree. I might not be very good at him, but I do enjoy McCree. I also do enjoy Soldier 76. Just kind of reminds me of that classic, Call of Duty-esque FPS kind of playing system to it. So I would say those are kind of my favorite characters from that one there. The more defensive ones, I do like, and it depends. If I want to be more like turret building, I'll go with like a Torbjorn. But from that other one, from the more defensive category ones, I do like my Hanzo. Once again, not very good at it, but I do enjoy my Hanzo. From the tanks, that's another tough one because usually I play tanks in a lot of video games, at least the more like beefy kind of characters. So in that one, it's really tough to say. I enjoy Reinhardt a lot. I like Roadhog. I like D.Va. But if I had to pick one, I really like the mechanics most of Roadhog because he reminds me of a lot of those hooking characters from, MOBA games and just other games in general. I love that mechanic, so I would choose Roadhog from there. And from the healer's perspective, that was another kind of class that I've played in a lot of other games too, and that's kind of been that support healing kind of character. So Lucio's great because he's more of like a bard, right? He can heal everybody in a certain area. It's not just stuck to kind of like just single target healing. You can just heal everyone around him with an aura. And I also like Mercy as well because of the rezzing aspect for it. I come from a background of like a lot of kind of MMO games and stuff, so rezzing is a pretty important thing, so Mercy's ultimate is really, really helpful in that. But if I had to choose between the two, I personally prefer to play Lucio because he's a little bit more, you can kind of get into the action by actually shooting people, pushing them away, and you can also speed your team up, heal them instead. I like that choice a little bit better, at least when it comes to the healer/support characters. Next question comes from Ian Anis, and they ask, why don't you like FIFA? I don't think I ever said I didn't like FIFA. I just don't own the most recent version of it. I think the last one I owned was like FIFA 13 or something like that, and I had a blast playing it. So, what made you think I don't like FIFA? That's weird. That's weird, man. Jules O'Fora asks, TG got a Lambo. Now, if you were to buy a nice car, what would it be? I don't know if that's putting any exceptions on it, like, there's a certain price limit or just what you like in general. Personally, I think I've seen his Lambo in real life. I thought it was absolutely awesome. But for me, I'm a little bit more of like, when it comes to like sports cars and stuff like that, I like my practicability a little bit better. So I prefer a car that, I don't know, maybe it's my age. Andre is younger than me. Maybe I've just, I'm a little bit more mature, if you like to think about it that way. But my taste has always been, instead, I prefer a little bit more luxury in my vehicles. So I would get something like either something in the Mercedes line or maybe a BMW in the 4 Series. I don't know if it would be like an M4 or just somewhere up in the 4 Series with 4 doors. Something with all-wheel drive, especially because I live in Toronto. So if I ever have to take that thing out in the winter, it would be nice to know that I have some all-wheel drive to be able to take something in the snow. That's just me. If it was a sports car kind of thing. Personally, I like my motorcycles. Not in better. I think they serve two different functions. For me, I'd rather have like a nice, luxurious kind of sedan. Like I said, maybe probably like a 4 Series BMW or something like that. And then on the side, my other vehicle that I would like to have for fun would be something like a motorcycle. So I would enjoy the Panigale 1199, for example. I would love to have that, for example, as my bike of choice if I was going to be sticking to something really, really fast like that. And also it sticks with kind of the Italian theme you got going there. Andrew's got his Lambo. I'd get something like a Ducati instead. Next question is coming in from Yusuf Ahmed, and they ask, do you play Grand Theft Auto 5, Battlefield 1 on PC? I do have a PlayStation 4. Sometimes I've shown you guys some things from it at least. But the primary system that I do play all of my games on has got to be PC. I've always enjoyed PC gaming, probably the most compared to consoles. I like consoles. I don't mind them at all. I don't hate. I think they fit a need for everybody out there, depending on what your need might be. I just personally prefer PC gaming in general. I like the controls of a keyboard and mouse the most. That's me. So yeah, when it comes to games like Grand Theft Auto, Battlefield 1, Overwatch, whatever it might be, I personally like playing on PC the most. That is my console of choice, if you will. Next question comes from Sam Oliver, and they ask, do you have a girlfriend or a wife? Yes, I do indeed have a girlfriend, Sam. We've been together now. It's going to be coming up on actually 4 years very, very soon. So yeah, we've been together for a little while now, so yeah. And certainly last but not least is our final question, guys, and hopefully I got to yours, but if I didn't, be sure to shoot a message over on Twitter. I might answer it just on there, or maybe even feature it in another Q&A in the future, guys. So always be sure to be following me on Twitter just to make sure that you're up to date on what I'm doing. And this question comes in from XElite1712X, and they ask, would you consider starting a gaming videos or live streams on my channel? That's something that I kind of want to not necessarily stay away from, but this is primarily focused on some gaming news, tech content mostly, just really popular and just cool little pop culture items. If I was going to be doing something like a gaming video or live stream kind of channel, I feel as if that would be better suited in a different channel, just specifically focusing on that, because I feel like that is its own thing. I can touch on gaming news in this one, and I think that's fine, but if it's going towards more gaming videos and live streams, I feel as if that has to move to another channel. And there you have it, guys. That is September of 2016's Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you guys just have any questions just in general, shoot them over on Twitter. You never know, I might answer them over there. Guys, I have a lot of new videos coming up very, very soon. I got a lot of great ideas coming down the pipeline. Be sure to be subscribed if you guys haven't already, if you're enjoying this type of content, because there's going to be some really, really cool stuff coming up very, very soon that I think you guys will enjoy. I'd like to thank you guys very much for watching today's video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'll see you later.